All right, I'm gonna let him talk then, and not me.
Okay.
I'll make sure to not ramble.
This one's Rushmore, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was... we were talking about American Beauty today, and I got confused because there was also
I said when
some
he was
concept that was also in Rushmore.
I was like, you remember when he started to project himself on the girl? And Brandon's like, which movie are you talking about?
All right.
All right.
Welcome to the greatest year in film.
Woo!
Yay.
I'm
Party
Kristen,
time.
and with me is Brandon
Hi.
and Amber.
Hello.
All right, so off the top, I'm going to blow up your spot. Life Aquatic is one of your favorite movies, right?
Yeah, I enjoy that movie a lot.
And if I recall, I did not like it at all.
I don't... Is there a Wes Anderson movie you do like?
That might have been the only one I had seen before today.
Okay.
I wanted to see Isle of Dogs.
Oh, it's really good.
It's good.
It's really cute.
I read some very interesting things about it. So for today, we watched Rushmore. Insufferable Teen Gets His Way.
Yeah.
So that was your selection. What made you choose it?
I like the concept of the cosmopolitan little shit. He just gets his little fingers in every single club. He's just all about staying in school, not to be in school, but to do school things while being in school.
Which is a very Brandon
thing
for himself.
I've definitely been there. I felt like, wanting to, instead of moving on, taking advantage of where you are and all of the different clubs and stuff like that.
Right.
So that aspect appealed to me, but it's also fun to see this little shit that I hate. Like, his character is so perfectly summed up by the beret that he has.
Yes.
That he does not wear properly at all.
No.
But he wants to wear a beret, so he does. And that just sums up his character so well.
When did you first see this movie?
It was probably after college, when I was feeling like that of wanting to stay in school and keep doing...
I didn't necessarily care about the classes, but...
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Because like once you would go back to school, you're like, oh shit, homework sucks. But...
You enjoy the fencing
Yeah.
and the backgammon club
Yeah,
and the beekeeping club.
Exactly. You don't think about like what it actually means to go back to school. You just want that positive feeling you get elsewhere.
Yeah, being in the middle of something busy.
It's like a big distraction, especially if you can just make up your own clubs.
Sure. Did he do much of that? I don't remember.
He founded a couple. I know he founded the theatrics.
Okay.
Because that's how he got into the school in the first place. He got a scholarship when he was in second grade, and he wrote a play.
Right.
It's a Wes Anderson film.
Yeah. He had a hand in the Latin club initially, right?
He kept it going. Because
Okay.
at first he wanted to kill it because Latin is a dead language. But then his lady crush was like, well, Latin's the root of all the Romance
They
languages.
wanted the Japanese club, though.
Yeah. He probably would sign up for both.
Yeah, he would be in either one. Amber, when did you first see this?
A couple days ago. So I've never seen this movie.
Okay, so what was your concept of it going in?
So I remember seeing like commercials for it a long time ago, and it just did not appeal to me back then, like when I was 12, 14 years old, because it seemed like a very, I don't know, talky movie, which it is a very talky movie, and it seemed to did not appeal to me. I didn't know what was going on with it. But now I've come to love Wes Anderson films, so for me it was interesting to watch like one of the first Wes Anderson films.
Right.
So that's why I watched it too. It's like, oh, this is a Wes Anderson film? I might as well
This is
see
where it
Yeah.
all
began.
It definitely felt like a proto Wes Anderson movie where like you can see the elements there. They're not as in your face as
Right.
Life Aquatic was.
Exactly.
Because Life Aquatic was very much that.
Yes, it is.
More exaggerated.
Yeah.
This seemed more like a movie that was being made for people to consume, like don't have that niche, like it doesn't have a niche appeal yet.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of Wes Anderson films now are very like, they're way more artistic, I feel like.
That was going to be my next question, was what are those elements that you see the seeds of?
So for me, it's a lot of that feeling of a play where things are framed very flatly.
Yes.
Like you see perfect symmetry. You see, usually a scene is completely flat. Like there's a scene where he's in the steel mill or whatever.
Bill
I
Murray's
actually really
characters.
like that. I
Yeah.
like that kind of cinematography of just very stark, and here it is.
Yeah, and in between scenes, it's like there's literally a curtain with like the month.
Yeah.
And Life Aquatic had a lot of that too, where they introduced the submarine and they just spend like 5 minutes like showing this cutaway of just like taking you on this little tour while it's literally on a stage. You see a little bit of that with this, and you get two legit plays.
You do get the like extracurricular montage at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, and that's another thing I was saying. I was like, at first I wasn't seeing the Wes Anderson stuff, but then there was things like the jump, like the cuts.
Yes.
Were very dramatic. Like, you don't really need to see a whole scene played out in front of you. It's just, here's what you're trying to get across: is this kid does a lot of extracurriculars. Here's a cut of this. Here's a cut of this. Here's a cut of this. Another mark to me for a Wes Anderson film is the delivery of how they actually talk with each other, the dialogue, how it's delivered, which is usually very understated and very fast. And you could kind of feel some of that. And also like the sharp movements of how people move in the film too, where it's like very... And there's one scene where like Bill Murray was talking to a teacher and he said something to her and then immediately turned around and just ran. And it's like, what?
Who does that?
And so I think the mark of what Wes Anderson film is usually like the characters, the actors are very understated while all of this ridiculous, absurd stuff is going like around them. Like the whole situation is silly, but the way that they talk doesn't really address the silliness of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We had talked a little bit about that before, about like it not really being theater, because in theatrics you're projecting, you're like showing a lot of emotions. Yeah. And I think I've kind of come back around, and it's like it's that same feeling, but they're projecting to a different audience. They're projecting to the camera. Right. They don't have to be like explosive for a group. They don't
have to magnify for a theater.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this is true or if I just feel like this is true, but it's like in a musical when they have like that I feel, I want song of like a character comes on and speaks what they're feeling inside as a song.
Right.
I feel like I get that with Wes Anderson movies where it's like the weird dialogue that's just like straight and to the point. It's kind of like that version of it, but in movie form, if that makes sense.
More of like like I said, more situational, more what's going around the characters, how they're, I think because you don't have to be so dramatically expressive on in a movie like as a actor, you can kind of get it from just how they are interacting in their environment, which can be more subtle in a movie format. I was just going
to say a physical subtlety with maybe outsized situations and places.
Because Rushmore is a crazy school. Like, why would a school ever allow like 35 different clubs that are like beekeeping or like, I don't know. It's this crazy, like this crazy school.
All right, let's read off the summary.
Okay.
Sure.
The extracurricular king of Rushmore Preparatory School is put on academic probation. I was going to make a Georgetown prep joke, but I don't think that'll age well.
I remember, it's like, what?
I think this is too highbrow for me.
Kavanaugh?
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
What can you tell us about this movie? What did you notice?
I love that the little shit has best friends with like a 12-year-old.
I did like that. I liked that character a lot.
Yeah.
And I just love how he always had a crayon and notepad.
Taking
and he
notes.
and this is something else that is about the movie. Like, these are just a bunch of kids in very adult situations with adult feelings. So like just that kid spying and taking notes on these really adult scenarios.
And a fair, like...
Yeah.
Or like
making threats. And
I know.
Yeah, threatening Bill Murray's character.
With literally a crayon letter.
Yeah.
It's great.
How about you?
For me, I know we keep talking about it early on, we're like, he's such a little shit. And I definitely felt that when he was like, you know, with that teacher. He meets this kindergarten teacher who he does develop a crush on. And I really didn't like how she kind of played into that crush here and there. It's like she didn't really draw that line, because I think she felt like
it was going to be harmless.
It's going to be harmless, or like she actually saw part of her dead husband in this kid. And that was kind of weird.
That's a good point, because he did found the Beekeeper Society.
Right. One of my favorite things, like talking about the absurd situations, is the kid. I can't remember his name. Was his name Max?
Yeah, Max Fisher.
Yes, Max. So Max, he's went to this school because he got in on a scholarship with this play. So he's like this playwright. They show 2 of his plays during the movie, and they're like the most ridiculous productions. Like, how did they get real palm trees and real guns and pyrotechnics and stuff? So I thought that was really funny.
Wasn't it in a gym?
Yes.
Yeah. The huge model train that they pulled out guns and shot at when it was driving by.
Or like, it's like he made this play that's like about Vietnam, and he dedicates it to his dead mother and the teacher's dead husband.
Yeah.
is. Like, what? I just think it's interesting how, like Brandon pointed out, like, here's 2 kids, but they really treat him like an adult in a lot of situations.
The movie does.
The movie does, yes. Yeah. Which I thought was, it's funny. Like, you get into it, and then you step back, you go, this is just a 16-year-old kid or 17-year-old kid or whatever. It's ridiculous. Like the plays in the plays, which is another mark of a Wes Anderson film, too, I think. He does a lot of plays in a movie. The
most age-inappropriate plays.
Mm-hmm. Does that happen a lot in his movies?
I can think of...
I don't know about the other
Isle
ones.
of Dogs had a play in it.
Oh, right. They had like that Japanese... that performance. Because it starts with that, where there's a drummer and you have the dancing.
Yeah, which is a stop-motion film.
Man, that's a good movie.
I feel like I didn't learn anything from this movie. I don't feel anything about it.
No. I would agree with you.
I think a lot of that comes to the ending being a bad ending.
Okay.
Of like... I feel like they were trying to have like a little redemption arc where he and the teacher come to terms and like, now we are solidly friends, but let's show our friendship by just, having this little dance together. But it felt more like...
the lines are being blurred again.
Yeah, it was maybe rushed, the ending.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think you don't really get that honest feeling of him moving on. Like, yeah, he finally opens his eyes to the other girl who's interested in him. But it didn't seem like he actually learned his lesson.
No. Yeah, I didn't feel like there was any lesson learned. Even Bill Murray's character, like, they kind of, like, left that kind of blurry, too. Like, like she was like, Bill Murray's character isn't even... So the kindergarten teacher and Bill Murray end up getting together at some point. She leaves him, and then they kind of... Max tries to force them back together.
Yeah.
And so that's such a weird... It's a very messy, weird coming together thing, like...
I think it definitely was rushed, because he did... improve, but it was all buried in a really quick montage.
Yeah.
Because, like, you saw that he started focusing more on his health and stopped hating himself as much, but it was all so quick. You didn't really get to see what that actually gave him in terms of...
earn his redemption.
Yeah.
Narratively.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I did laugh once.
Oh.
Once?
I don't remember if I laughed or not.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know if I laugh in these movies.
I laughed once.
Yeah.
And it was... He went to the teacher's house in the rain, and he's pretending that he's hurt.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "You're not hurt.
Uh-huh.
I'll show you the door." And he said, "I'll go back out the window."
Okay. I laughed at that. I don't even remember. I was so mad at him at that point in time, where it's just like, you're still doing this to this poor woman, like trying to trick her.
Like, she is actually really being affected by this, because she is now in her home looking at all of the things that remind her of her husband, and here's this kid.
In her husband's bed, presumably.
Yes.
Yeah. Who reminds her a little bit of her husband, and then he keeps saying, he's dead. And it had only been a year.
Yeah.
He had only died a year ago. So it was like, I was getting really angry. The fact that he actually had a tape in his pocket to put into her tape player.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Immediately.
I was just disgusted.
Yeah, he's a guy who cares very much about appearances, which is why he's lying all the time.
I think one part that made me smile was the whole time there was that Scottish kid who was kind of like a bully. And then he finally, like, at the very end, Max has written this whole new play that's going to be like the end of the movie. And he throws down this, the script to him and goes, here's a part. And he's like, "Oh, I've always wanted to be in one of your plays."
After shooting him in the face with an air gun.
But
yeah.
Well.
And then that kind of made me go, huh.
Yeah, I liked that too.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the thing? What is the most memorable or emblematic thing about this movie? What is it that makes this movie for you? What is the image that comes to mind?
The image that comes to mind is definitely the stupid beret, because it just sums up everything perfectly.
Okay.
He cares about being artsy. Mm-hmm. He cares about appearances, but he doesn't follow through with it as well as you should have, but he's just spread himself so thin that he can't put that beret on right. But then that's also good because it goes in with the girl who's interested in him, who has a beret and wears it properly.
She was cute.
So, like, there's a little bit of redemption there.
I can't even think about it. Like, this is, again, like, I feel like I'm in the same boat. Like, I didn't feel like it was very remarkable. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it's just like, oh, I could just see the beginnings of a Wes Anderson film. Like, his style coming through. But for me, I can't even, like, to me, I'm like, it was pretty meh. Like...
That's the thing. I watched it, but I don't know what I saw. Honestly. I don't know. I don't know, maybe these big dumb projects of like, we're gonna make this huge aquarium, or
This millions of dollars
yeah,
aquarium
stupid.
in the middle of on the side of a baseball
field.
diamond.
Yeah.
It just reminds me how good Bill Murray is at playing sad characters.
Who just hates himself so much.
Yeah.
Sad clown.
You can see how bad of a parent he is just in the way his kids act.
I know.
Or when they're at the birthday party and you just see his pool just not taken care of. It's all dirty and gross. He's like standing up and watching like his sad life. And he just dives right in.
Ugh. So yeah, I don't really have something that really like stands out to me that makes me go, yeah, Rushmore. That's Rushmore.
I like the movie and I feel that way too. It's like, oh, all right.
I think I'm with you on what the thing is of just this image of this stupid kid that sucks.
Yeah.
Just
trying to be all erudite up there on the bleachers, getting closer to the teacher.
Ugh.
Well, what was that one line where, oh yeah, she was talking about doing law for Latin America or something like that.
oh yeah.
And him just not being very
He's like,
smart.
did you know they're gonna get rid of Latin?
And she's like, they don't
speak
speak Latin
Latin and-
there. Dumbass.
That whole scene sums up his character so well.
Yeah.
Because he keeps on going down to her and going back up and moving and opening his book,
Yeah.
not reading it.
What's the most 90s thing about this movie?
That's a good question. Because some of the movies that we've seen, there is a thing,
Yeah.
but I don't get.
I feel like this
Get
is a
too
movie
much.
where you could.
Oh,
Wha-
here we go.
You got one?
Yeah, he brought a cassette tape with him, knowing that there would be a cassette player in the room.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's good. That was definitely one of those. But I think that was the most thing that really stood out to me as like the most 90s thing. I feel like it's so focused on, there's sort of like an eclecticness about it, because all other Wes Anderson's films too don't really have like
It's a little timeless.
It's a little timeless. Like there's no, with the Wife Aquatic,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's fantasy, right? It could be like any time period.
Right.
And then I think of like the Isle of Dogs. There's walkie-talkies being used in it, and it's got some of the 50-ish feel, 1940s 50-ish feel in it, and some of
Yeah.
it, but for the most part, it's kind of like almost fantastical at the same time. I'm trying to think of like the Grand Budapest Hotel has a sort of
Yeah,
1920s feel to it,
Definitely.
but I don't know. Yeah, it just to me didn't really like stand out as a 90s film. Like there's definitely a movie I watched where I said to Brayden, "What are we in the 90s?" And I was like, "Oh wait, we are in the 90s." So yeah, this one didn't really, other than the tape.
So in a way, like maybe visually, it holds up still.
visually I think so, because it definitely had really good the framing of everything.
Yes.
I don't know how you pronounce it. Mise en scène, the way
Sure.
you position everything
Right.
on screen, like that. It felt good, and I think that
Yeah.
that part holds up pretty well. The characters, maybe not so much.
Yeah, the kid was gross about this woman.
Yep.
Like,
When he got drunk in the
Oh,
restaurant
right.
with her friend Peter.
yeah,
Yeah, that was messed up.
That was really messed up.
and just I don't know if they were going for like a dogged nice guy thing, but
Ugh. No.
she was not interested, and he kept going after that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it definitely would have been better if there was some kind of redemption for him, but no.
So maybe if it had a better structured ending, maybe
I
it
think
would hold
so.
up better.
Yeah, or like more play between him and the girlfriend, because she had
Right.
her own fakery going on with the science project that she
Right.
cheated on and lied about.
I would have liked to see more of her.
Yeah, and she
felt-
was a good character, and she
Yeah,
still
she
did
was.
that.
It felt like there was more interesting people than him that I would have rather had watched the movie about. Like I
Absolutely.
would have like Bill Murray's character. I was like, what is going on with your life?
Yeah.
And why do you have so much money, and why are your kids like this, and what happened to you? And
Even
why
the kid's
does
dad, like the kid's dad was great too. The
Oh,
barber.
Oh yeah, the barber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
he
like
was good.
what's going on with that? And so we get this kid and maybe that's part of what he's supposed to be. Maybe he's supposed to be that to these other, I don't know.
And-
Anyway.
Yeah, because he's trying to get away from that life, it sounds. Like his dad has a very humble, very normal life. He wants to be more than that. He has a chance to be more than that, and he fills in those gaps with just the lies and
Yeah.
his dad being a neurosurgeon.
Yes.
But then, actually, I didn't think about this until later. When Bill Murray's character went in and get a haircut, he did kind of had his own brain surgery, because that was the thing that turned him around, because he came into that shop just completely disheveled,
Right.
and he came out feeling so much better about himself. Like, he got his brain fixed.
That's interesting. That's cool. Good pull. Do you think it'll hold up in 20 years? 20 years from now?
I think so. It'll definitely be one of those movies that we look back on like, I don't know.
This was of a time.
Yes. Like, it's still watchable.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably be different than movies that they watch at the time, but it's not like I'm trying to think of some really awkwardly paced. There's a lot of movies that are awkwardly paced from 60s and 70s
Sure.
that I tried watching. But I think it'll be definitely one that, probably not for casual watching, but for like people who are interested in
An
film.
academic.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is Wes
Watching.
Anderson's beginnings.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the way I approached it, too.
Right. This is how you build a voice. All right. Any last thoughts?
I want to know what kind of person Dirk becomes when he grows up.
He's a very cute kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's sharp.
Yeah.
All right. We're good?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think I said everything I wanted to say.
Okay. You'll notice this is a mini-sode, despite today being a fifth Wednesday, which was supposed to mean a mega-sode. But some of us were under a travel advisory on recording day. If you're listening from the future, we are currently in Polar Vortex Town, in which wind chills could hit -40 today, and it'll be 95 degrees warmer in 3 days. That's not a joke, that's just Indiana weather, TM. So we are taking a snow day on this megasode. Stay tuned. 1999 lives on at geekspective.com, where you can find other pretentious podcasts like this one. You can reach out to this show on the social medias at Plitgif, PLITGYIF. That's Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. And you can find me on Tumblr at MySpace Office. So, I'll talk to you next time. Hope to see you at the next party.